Hello and welcome to AURA Podcast with your girl, Kubi Springer. Today, I have the honor and the privilege of sitting down with the CEO of Porsche, Middle East and Africa. In this interview, we talk about a range of different subjects. We talk about how Porsche as an iconic brand has been making sure that over decades, they have not only sold cars, but made sure that they had brand fans.
If you're authentic, the rest is really comes all together. If you don't have fans anymore for your brand, I think you might one day also lose your customers. Dubai is a melting pot of ideas. I try to see things always from the positive side, and if something doesn't really work out, I try to stay positive and motivated because times will change again.
I'm a Porsche fan, I know you are, so let's get into it. Hello and welcome to AURA Skypool with your girl, Kubi Springer. Today I'm sitting down with the CEO of Porsche Middle East. Manfred, welcome.
Thank you very much for welcoming me here.
Yeah. Have you been to AURA Skypool before?
I have been here, I think it's a year ago already, and I was just taken away by the view and by the atmosphere here. Yeah. Really stunning. Can only recommend it.
It is, isn't it? I know the team took you on the walk around.
Correct.
Which was your favorite side of the decks?
Favorite side will be always the marina side because that's also where I live, and I think in the afternoon the sun is coming over here. Yeah. So I learned also in the morning you have to be on the other side. Afternoon it's probably a little bit nicer here on the marina side.
So with the marina you get to see the eye lit up every
Correct.
Single evening.
Yeah. Also in the evening it must be really breathtaking.
Oh, it's gorgeous here in the evening. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. I want to start off by talking about something I read that you said about Porsche. And you said that you don't buy the brand, you buy into the brand. What does that mean?
I think that's a very important quote for us because look, I mean, Porsche does not just have customers. Porsche has fans and ambassadors. The moment you buy a Porsche, you belong to some sort of a community. I just was on the phone with a friend last week, and he bought his first Porsche, and it didn't take him not even 2 weeks. And the community reached out to him and said, "Let's go on a drive. Let's do this. Let's do that." And I think this makes this brand so special that community is there. There is actually no other brand in the world who has so many clubs and communities like Porsche.
Was that organic or was that very intentional?
Not at all. I think people are coming together. I think what Porsche does, or what we also do at Porsche Middle East and Africa, we give these customers or fans ambassadors stage. I'll give you an example. 4 years ago, we opened here in Dubai the Driven Cafe. So that's a gathering place. So once a month, we all come together. Or the Icons of Porsche, we do this year for the 5th time. Started small with 7,000 guests. Last year we had nearly 30,000. So we just provide the stage, and the rest is sort of the community comes together, has a good time, and of course we always welcome lots of fans and friends of the brand.
How do you decide when you're doing these expansions of the brand, the Driven Cafe, Icons of Porsche, which, by the way, Icons of Porsche I love. I'm a big fan. How do you decide as the CEO what the personality needs to be of each of those so that they're separated but yet connected to the brand?
I think the only thing you have to be is you have to be authentic. If you're authentic, the rest is really comes all together. You should not try hard to achieve something. As I said, we gave our customers and the fans a stage. We just also did not only do cars. We said, this should be people coming together. It's about classic cars, new cars, it's arts, it's culture. We get a lot of artists now, also started small. Now we get more and more artists who want to come do something around automotive. And I think, again, if you are authentic, I think that's the best way to be successful with these events.
A lot of brands are talking about branded communities now. And like you said, Porsche have been doing it for a very, very long time. I'm a Panamera driver back home in the UK. Panamera was my baby. It was our date night car. It was the Panamera. And so I understand what it feels like to be part of the Porsche community. And it's a real community.
Yeah.
But how do brands start that? You say be authentic, but where do you even start? Maybe if you're entering the market for the first place or first time.
Maybe I should go really back right now.
Yeah.
Look, this brand was born on the racetrack in 1948. It was always about having fast cars, take them to a challenge, go to races, and then of course the technology always improved more and more. That actually excited me so much about the automotive industry, having this fierce competition between brands and always, trying to get a competitive edge. And I think this is really where this whole thing started. And so you should look at your brand from a technology point of view, very much so, that you always deliver the best result to your customer. And that's, again, what I mentioned, authentic. And I think if you do that and you take care of your customers, a very, very important thing, because as I said, we say not we don't have customers, we have more fans and ambassadors. These fans and ambassadors will recommend you. They will not only stay loyal, but they will also recommend you to their friends, and then hopefully we get some more customers.
The history of your brand, like you said, is really, really important. As AI becomes part of our day-to-day living, and Gen Z have more disposable income than we did at their age as boomers, how do you keep the brand rooted in the history, but at the same time evolve enough to speak to this next generation?
Yeah, that's a real interesting question, to be honest, because we always say that Generation Z is so different from the others, and why is that? I think you have to start with that. Personally, I believe that they're different a bit because the environment changed. Look, when I started my career, there was no smartphone. There was no home office.
Yep.
And right now, especially now after Corona, I mean, we're so used to doing things from remote. And this changed a lot of things in the mind of people. So while they are digital natives, we are digital immigrants. We are certainly not as good as they are in many, many fields. And this is why I also sometimes, I don't like the criticism about that generation, because I think the environment changed and they really adapted very well. We keep on going, producing excellent sports cars. I think they will be always loved by our clientele, and I think that's what we do best.
You're such a global brand, and at Avant-Garde, we've had the privilege of working with you in multiple markets. What is the biggest difference in the Chinese market, because that's your background, where you were, in Shanghai, and here in the Middle East and Africa?
So I joined Porsche 11 years ago in 2014 in China. I was a vice president marketing, and I was super excited about that job because, as a German doing the marketing in China, really, really exciting. Of course, you learn a lot about the market, and especially also now the comparison here. I mean, let's first start with the size of the country. China is 1.3 billion people. Dubai has like 3.7, 3.8 million people. Yeah. So a little bit different in size. The next thing is the customers. Customers here in the UAE, average age, of course, is like 45 years old. In China, 10 years younger, 35 years old. Actually, in Europe, 10 years older than here, more in their mid-50s. So if you cater to a different age group, of course, also that makes a difference. In China, nearly 50% of our customers are female. Here, it's a smaller percentage, still a good percentage, but smaller than there.
50% of your customers are female.
In China, correct, yeah. By the way, they love Panamera.
Yeah, it's
so
a
here you
girl's
go.
car.
Here you go, yeah.
I've been telling people this, Manfred.
So it's a majority of our Panameras actually are going to China. So a very, very different market and very demanding customers, especially when it comes to technology. If you think about it, also the smartphone technology, a lot of these innovations came from China. And you see this also today with their cars. They are very, very well connected. They're really here very competitive, if I may say so.
So considering that you've got just a snapshot of 3 different markets, 3 different generations. In Europe, you're saying 45, so 55 in Europe, 45 here in the Middle East, 35 in China. How does a global brand speak to such a broad range of lifestyles, of interests? Yeah. How do you adapt regionally?
Yeah, I think you should not make the mistake right now to adapt too much and say, oh, we're only catering now to this age group or that age group, or maybe we're just catering to females. So I don't believe that much. I think you should have a very consistent approach, who you are and what you want to be doing. And let's not forget, it's not only targeting people you want to buy a car, it's also the entire public in the country, because your car, your brand has to be seen in a positive light. I think people must like it. Of course, if you don't have fans anymore of your brand, I think you might one day also lose your customers. So you cannot be so narrow-minded. You should really cater to everybody. And again, I mean, we produce, I think, excellent sports cars. And that's always what we want to portray, whether they're coming with a combustion engine, hybrid, or electric.
You have said something so profound that makes my skin go up as a marketeer. If you don't have fans of your brand, you will one day lose your
Absolutely.
customers.
I believe in that.
That's so good.
Thank
That's
you.
so good. So let me ask you then this. I sat down maybe about 4 years ago with a group of ladies at Harper's Bazaar Summit, and on the panel was the CEO of Manolo Blahnik. And we were talking about when your brand is over 100 years old and it has that deep-seated legacy, how do you ensure that the legacy isn't lost? So what do you guys do to do that?
Yeah, okay, we are not 100, we are 77 years old.
But close.
Close.
We're close.
Getting there,
Yeah.
getting there. Of course, you have to adapt to your environment. Of course, you have to adapt always to the competition, and especially you have to adapt to the customer needs. I think you have to be true to your core. So Porsche will always build sports cars. But of course, there is a demand out there which says, okay, first of all, there are some changes. We are getting more and more into the electric field. So that's a change coming. In the next years, there will also be more and more self-driving coming, autonomous driving. Of course, you can't ignore these technologies. So you have to be in that game. But I think that's the point. You need to adapt technologies, but the core has to be the same. I think successful brands, they can always say the core has always stayed there for the past generations.
The core, when I put my foot down on a Porsche, is the sound of that engine.
Yeah.
So considering electronic is coming, that's a dichotomy, right?
Yeah. So of course I knew that you were going there, and it's a very no, it's
I'm
a very
Panamera fan, so
it's
yeah.
a very it's a very valid question, and let's start like this. When like 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, somebody would have told me that Porsche is one of the first manufacturers bringing out a fully electric car like the Taycan. I would have said maybe not so quick, but here we are. We launched the Taycan in 2019. That's already 6 years ago, and I was of course also curious, and I could drive the car already ahead of its launch back in Germany in our test track, and of course I also love the sound, of a 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder. But when I actually got into that car, I was amazed because you get maybe not that sound, but you get other excitements, like for example the acceleration, which is unbeatable. And of course it's a Porsche. It drives like a Porsche. It handles like a Porsche, and that makes it a true Porsche. So there's not electric Porsches and combustion engine. There's Porsche, and they come with different technologies. So this is why we also this year started a test drive initiative, that you as a potential customer, you can actually drive electric and combustion. Macan electric, Macan combustion. You drive Panamera and you compare it with the Taycan. And it's very interesting what people are coming back with. They thought, hey, I'm a guy who really likes combustion. They come and said, I love this Taycan, I like this acceleration and everything about it. So I think we have to offer both again, and then let the customer decide.
And let the customer decide. I think brand experience has become something in the last 10 years in marketing that's super important, where customers are initially fans who get to just explore and experience what the brand is before they even think about buying.
Yeah.
How important has that been in your overarching marketing strategy?
Super important.
Yeah.
Again, I think those manufacturers who are only looking at the defined target group with potential customer. And in my world, this is the wrong definition. There is many target groups out there. There is one target group, which is your customer. You want your customers to stay loyal, be an ambassador, and recommend you. Second is, that's your potential customer, which everybody talks as a target group. The third for me are all these parties who influence your buying decision. That can be the press, that can be your family, that can be your kids. Very important. And the fourth target group is actually the public. If the people in your country, if they don't think that this is a nice car to have, that this is a cool car, it's a car with a good reputation, I think that many of the prospects will actually not buy you, and the customers will not stay loyal. So my strong recommendation to all marketeers is, don't be too narrow on your marketing activities, be broader, because only like this you can be successful.
Brilliant advice. We're in changing times. We've seen out of America tariffs being introduced. We've seen counter tariffs being introduced coming out of China just very recently. By the time this airs, we have no idea what other tariffs will be introduced, but we know we're in changing times.
Yeah.
How do you, as CEO of such an iconic brand, how do you approach what's happening right now?
Yeah, it's of course uncertainties is the worst thing you can have I think in any industry. We were lucky here in the Middle East, Porsche Middle East and Africa. We are responsible for 15 countries for the Middle East, for all Africa, and for India. So we are lucky that over the last years we had a really steady growth path. But you should never take these things for granted, especially with these changes. And of course, currently, if you see these tariffs, I'm wondering what the stock market is doing today. We'll have to just deal with that, and we have to adapt. It's the only thing you can do. I mean, what can we do here as a manufacturer? We know that we have our fans and customers all over the world. I just hope that these uncertainties go away. I cannot imagine that they will stay here for years, and then we go back to business.
Leadership style, when you've got multi-generations working together for the first time in history. You'll have a 60-year-old, you'll have a 46-year-old, a 36-year-old, and a 26-year-old, all in the same building. How does that look inside of Porsche?
So at Porsche Middle East and Africa, I think our average age, hopefully I'm correct, it's like mid-30s. And I'm very often being asked, so what makes Dubai so special or different to other countries you have been? And honestly, I think that if I could phrase this in one sentence, for me, Dubai is a melting pot of ideas.
I like that.
Because there is no other country in the world who has so many young, very well educated people coming together in one location. So you get educated people, young, energetic, and they get together. They're in meetings, they're thinking about some creative things like with avant-garde, and then of course the outcome is amazing. And I think this is what makes so special. And from a leadership style, I think the best is you lead by inspiration. You need to just say, hey, maybe we should do something like this Icons of Porsche event, do something for our customers, for the fans, and then we just take it as a challenge. Or we just did a film right now at Solar Park. It was very interesting because we wanted to launch the new Macan Electric and new Taycan, and we wanted to launch in an environment nobody has really seen before. And Solar Park is here in Dubai. I would say 90% of people in Dubai have never ever seen it or heard about it. So we went up to the Ministry of Economy and Tourism and asked, can we get in there? And they allowed us to get in there and to shoot and do the film. There's actually a little balcony on the top of the tower, and they said, why don't we put a DJ there? But can you help us with that? Could you, we don't have really the budget for expensive DJ. And they said, well, we know David Guetta. So David Guetta came and played on the balcony, and I really recommend to watch the film, also the behind the scenes. These are the things we like to do and get everybody excited also in the company. Because if you do these things, I think this is just motivating for everybody.
Absolutely. Motivating the teams as a leader and being inspirational, how do you fill your own bucket to be able to pour back out again?
I think you have to have your downtimes once in a while. Just getting away from everything. Obviously, this is sometimes not so easy because you're traveling quite a bit, but whenever you have the chance to have a downtime and maybe also note down some new ideas or this and that, I think that's the most important thing. And trying to be active and work out as much as you can, mostly in the morning. I think that's already, for me, the way to go.
I find for me that whenever we're exposed to new collaborations, it excites me as a leader, kind of because I'm allowing my team to have fresh ideas from a completely different team. Does that also motivate you as well?
Absolutely. I think ideas always inspire me, especially creativity inspires me, and because it just puts even all this energy into a company. But important it is that you not only have ideas, but then you need to execute the good ideas if possible. Because it can be also frustrating if a lot of ideas are being tossed around. At the end of the day, the outcome is not there. I can really say that we of course we have also a lot of ideas. Not everything is being executed, but some great ideas like the Icons of Porsche, the Driven Cafe, this solar park with Porsche. These videos got done, and this keeps motivating, I think, the team.
There's a fine line, correct me if I'm wrong, between diversifying the brand and tapping into lifestyle things and ensuring that the essence of the brand still
Correct.
remains the same,
Yeah.
and not lost. You know, we're seeing luxury fashion brands entering into hospitality. At Avant-Garde, we did Fendi Cafe as an example. You're talking about the Driven Cafe. Lifestyle and the merging of lifestyle is big right now. But how do you ensure that the team still stay focused on what the product is?
Yeah, I think again, I mean, you can do a lot of things. You can create a lot of new touch points, but it always has to come back. So what I mentioned before, that you stick to your core, that you're not going completely overboard to something completely different, which doesn't fit with the brand at all. We had also our partner here, Al Nabuda, did over Ramadan, the Porsche house here in Dubai, which was very successful. Congratulations again to the colleagues. And you could feel Porsche, but it was not intrusive in any way. So it was a nice way to bring new customers and fans to the brand, but also having a nice coffee and something to eat there. I think this is always the thing, that you have to always look at it, do this test. Does everything you do still fit with your brand core?
Absolutely. What's the future for Porsche?
Well, I think the future in general for the automotive industry is electric. So we will go there, not at the speed we all thought it will go. I think it will go slower, but eventually I will go there. And then, of course, I think autonomous driving, if you talk from a technology point of view, this is also coming and is already quite advanced. And then we have to see, because I also think you cannot just predict everything. You have to look out there, what people like, what people are asking for, and then just build the best sports car which fulfills their needs. This is what we're all about for the last 77 years.
I'm a real big fan of your career, your personal career. I really, I've looked at a lot of the things you've done and interviews that you've participated in. And I wonder, and I'm being completely selfish with this question here, and hopefully it will impact the audience, but I wonder for you, what has been the biggest lessons that you have learned in such a stellar career that you would pass on to a younger self?
Not prepared for that question.
I'm so sorry.
And what I think in a way is that if you have a long career, you have, of course, moments of success, and then also moments where you have setbacks, where things are not going to the way they went. And I think it's always important to have a positive mood. And I hopefully people would agree with that who know me a bit, that I try to see things always from the positive side. And if something doesn't really work out, I try to stay positive and motivated, because times will change again. And that's true, I think, for not just for a personal career, that's true for just anything in life, that you should stay positive and always hope for the positive things in life. If you're like this, I think then you can much better digest also setbacks and stay motivated and not get frustrated for this or that. And I think also life is too precious to be frustrated over weeks over certain things. You just have to actually accept it and then make the best out of it.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to quickfire questions, if that's all right. This is where I ask my guests questions that are either one or the other. So not to think, just to answer. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to.
Convertible or coupe?
Coupe.
Really? Okay.
Well, certainly here in Dubai, it's too hot.
Okay, fair.
Maybe South France, certain other areas, and they're different, but
only the summer in the south of France.
Yeah.
Speed or position? Speed, of course. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise. Like we see it here right now.
Yeah, so this was the best time to bring you. Fantastic. City skyline or mountain view?
That's a difficult one, because I grew up in the countryside, not with too many mountains, but with a lot of vineyards. So I love to be back home once in a while to really chill and be, relax. But the last years I've always lived with a city view in Shanghai, in Toronto, and here. So I love also the city view a lot.
So both?
Both, yeah.
So both. German engineering or Dubai innovation?
Another very difficult one, because of course I love German engineering and that's what we are selling. But I'm amazed by all these innovations here in Dubai, because this country is so fast moving forward, also in the right direction, in my opinion, that this is also a perfect fit for us to be here in Dubai, have our headquarter for the regional office here in Dubai.
Manfred, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
It's absolutely
amazing atmosphere here at AURA. Definitely will come back again here soon.
Fantastic.
Not for an interview.
Not for an interview, to enjoy the pool.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know about you, but I thoroughly enjoyed that interview. If you are a business person, a budding CEO, a marketeer, you want to take your notepads out and watch this back again and take all the nuggets from Manfred. It was absolutely amazing. I'll see you next time.
This podcast was hosted by brand marketing expert QB Springer and produced by Avant-Garde Brand Experiences and AURA Skypool.